Hi, Capricorn. This is your May astrology for all Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs in Capricorn. Yeah, I'm kind of just like coming to a dead stop right here because I came in here with every intention of doing a different sign when they switched it to me on Capricorn, and I'm channeling it and trying to figure out what I'm getting. There's a lot of shifting in your hidden talents, your psychic energy, which actually has a lot to do with your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, your appearance, your honor, your reputation. And that's bouncing back to the ninth house. And nobody is going to be talking about your ninth house, not in astrology. There's new levels of judgment coming in for you. That's connecting with your source energy and your spiritual energy. It's a form of a journey that you're going through, is what I'm getting. Very stubborn and inflexible in areas because there's a shifting change and you're not sure how to handle that or what to do with it. Burdened and trying to be perfect at the same time. But it's a new foundation being set for you. Okay, look, the ninth house, nobody's going to be talking about it because technically there's not a planet here. But there is a star, one of the giant stars, and that's what Spirit is directing me to, because I'm completely going off the chart of how I have been doing all the rest of the videos for you, for everybody. But they've just been being channeled in so much this time around. There's judgment and you're trying to figure your way out through it. You're very much connected with the moon energy right now this month. The communication for yourself with the moon energy. And what does that mean? Well, this is why I'm giving you that ninth house. Technically, you're getting a masculine energy. You may even hear it in your ears, or the vibrational frequencies may be coming in. I like the spirit is incredibly getting bright right now at this moment. Okay, like I said, I'm kind of all over. It's just the way they're taking it. The ninth house, nobody's going to be talking to you because there's not a planet here, but there's a star here. But most people don't really pay too much attention to this star. And this is where Spirit is putting my attention right now. The ninth house is your higher self, your source energy, your authentic truths coming into the eternal flame of who and what you are. And that's dealing with some major spiritual shifts and changes that deal with your self-worth and your honor, reputation, coming into a new level of self-realization. This star that like most people aren't going to be talking about is changing Virgo energy forever, because it moves like 1 degree every 75 years, and it's got 30 degrees to go through. I think it's only in like the 3rd degree. So for our lives, it's changing what that Virgo energy is. For you, this is the higher self. The star is called Regulus. And as it goes deeper in, it's going to strengthen that energy and change what Virgo will be. And for whatever reason, there's an Aquarius of significance, or we may have to deal with Aquarius energy. Aquarius is your second house, also dealing with your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. But there may also be an Aquarius of significance here that may be mirroring you in some way or another, helping you to see what you're not seeing. Let me go back to where I'm, like, it's the spirits are just taking me all over the place right now. Regulus was in Leo forever. Regulus was considered and earned the name that started of the heart of the lion. Well, the heart of the lion no longer is in the lion. It's in Virgo, the virgin, the pure, the perfect. You're being given some masculine energies of spiritual growth to take in the material world. And it's not an option. It's something that you are meant to be doing. It's something that you need to do. And you'll understand what it is whenever it comes into your life that you figure it out. But it's not a question like, should I do it? It's being told you're supposed to do it. Anyway, your 9th house is now Virgo with Regulus here. Your higher self energy is growing a heart bigger than you know how to understand. And it's changing your spiritual journey. It's changing your humanitarian interests. It's changing, they said for some of you, it's changing spouse and money situations. It's changing the way the transformation of your spiritual growth is going. And that's also tapping into the moon energy, making it so much more deeper. Because the moon is our emotional depths. It's also our fears. But your whole 9th house, your higher self, your spiritual significance that you knew of, it's like the floor just dropped out, is what I'm being given. You're coming into a whole new level of judgment, grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities that you're tapping into. And this is to make you become more secure, more open, more loved or loving, more open-hearted in the actions you take. But I'm still getting that stubborn inflexibleness because it's your 9th house is broadening in such a thing so fast that it's kind of like well, is what I'm getting. It's like deepening, which is a big, strong spiritual maturity, which is going to seriously define you even more. And you're learning how to handle that. You're learning how to handle it, grow, mature with it, and see where that takes you. But you have some self-deceptions of what some of that means, and you're having to work through some of that. And in order for you to work through that, that's the only way you're going to get back to your inner emotional security, past which even you don't realize that you're not tapping into, or just a deeper level of true inner emotional security, true personal foundations on a spiritual level. It just seems like there's so much growth here. It's really a good thing, but it does feel like it's like, whoa. Like I said, I had every intention of doing a different video, and they just shifted me around. So there's a reason why they're wanting it to be done right now, and I'm just following what they say. Definitely going to be dealing with major situations happening in your 2nd house because of Saturn and Pallas. They're both going to retrograde, and it's going to be very sensitive energies for you. And we'll come back for that in just a minute. First off, from the 10th through the 17th, okay, they're starting to let it go. From the 10th through the 17th, you have a lot of planets going retrograde. So up until these planets go retrograde, technically many of them are kind of in shadow and kind of in a darker aspect, viewing things from a darker, mirroring, even fear-based, depending on what's going on in your life and how you're viewing things. And as they go retrograde, they kind of come back more online and be more in working with you, because they're only then communicating with you about the changes you need to make. From the 10th through the 17th, these things start to go retrograde. We'll go over them when I look at the chart. From the 7th through the 11th is when Mars and Ceres starts to conjunct. Now, it's going to conjunct all month, but this is when the sensitive in you, the empath in you, starts to feel it. You're definitely having like a crown or a third eye chakra opening, or exploring deeper, maybe opening more, I don't know. New levels of conversations is happening too. Sorry, that just is what they brought in just then. 7th through the 11th, Mars and Ceres are starting to conjunct. I believe this is, yeah, in your 3rd house. That's communication. That's why they gave that to me then. And you're going to have from the 20th through the 27th, Mars and Ceres actually come into 1 degree away from each other that whole week. So it's at its most powerful at that time, but it's also at its most powerful for threefold incoming karma, and it's going to be all about what you nurture or what you neglect in that communication house. We'll come back for that in just a minute. Chiron, Aries, in Aries, Chiron and Eris, which is Medusa, are in opposition of Libra all month, which is definitely calling for a challenge. But I'm just going to start where Spirit keeps directing me right now, because they're putting me in that 3rd house of your communication. Neptune is in your 3rd house of communication. It rules Pisces. Now, Pisces energy is very much compassionate, loving, mysterious. It's where magic is created. It's where fantasy and delusion are. It's where fantasy smacks you in the face with harsh reality. Mars is passion, action, aggression, confidence, sacral chakra, all in communication right now. Mars is asking you to have confidence in your intellect, in your details. But I feel like it's also wanting you to take some chances. Because, like I said, Mars is the inner warrior, but it's also confidence, it's also courage, it's also the inner belly dancer. How you feel about yourself. Are you free and comfortable? And I don't even mean to speak your mind, but to express your communication. How's your delivery system? Karma, which is Ceres, these two are coming into conjunction. Magic has the ability to make you sound and create. But it also has the ability to make you sound and create when you're full of shit. Ceres is all about nurturing this communication. And I'm telling you, this has to do with your spiritual communication. Nurturing a new spiritual communication, a new self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, a new inner security, a new inner investment in that higher self and true depths of self, an inner emotional security of your personal foundation. It's all coming threefold here. And how you communicate with yourself but realizing it through mirroring effects, I think of where you don't let others communicate with you, or where you cut them off, where you're maybe not hearing exactly what's being said to you. You might be hearing what you want to hear instead of what really is trying to be communicated. Because this has to do, like I said, it's coming all the way back to that higher self. And now the heart of the lion is in this communication. The heart of the lion is in this connection. And what do you do with this as it's growing? And it's changing how you communicate with yourself, the world around you. It's making you see such a broader version of things. But like I said, if you're not understanding whatever it is that they're trying to teach you, when karma and threefold and Mars and Sirius comes into conjunction from the 20th through the 27th, you're going to get hit with it. So if you're getting hit with something that's knocking you off your feet or knocking the air out of you, pay close attention, because that's the timing of what Spirit is trying to tell you now, so that you can see through how to redirect it in healing manners, because that will be right around the new moon in Gemini. Now let me go back. Aquarius, because Spirit was talking about that. It's supposed to be a very sensitive time for you. Saturn is in Aquarius, and it will go retrograde on the 11th. So until the 11th, your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem may be a little bit in question. Your self-communication may be a little bit in question. Your inner security may be in question. Your ability to believe in yourself may be a little bit in question. Saturn has rules, walls, and boundaries. But in Aquarius, where it's normally all restricted in energies, and Aquarius is kind of like, well, I can just take on the whole damn world. And you may, but that doesn't mean it's the smartest thing to do. It doesn't mean that you're doing it from the most intelligent of ways. We are talking about rules, walls, and boundaries being in shadow, taking some darker aspects, maybe filling your head with a little bit too much shit. After the 11th, it's inwardly talking to you about setting healthy, positive, I want to say vibrational changes. But this has to do with boundaries that support your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. And if I'm being choked up, this has to do with the way you communicate with yourself. Because it felt like something just flew down my throat. After the 11th, you're going to feel a shift in those rules, walls, and boundaries that support your investment in your inner security, inner value, as well as money. Because when you believe in yourself more, and you feel good about that, the law of attraction brings more money to you. When you're in more question, it makes harder for it to bring money to you. Because the second house also deals with your possessions, because of your ability to tap into your hidden talents. On the 18th, Pallas, which is Athena, the warrior goddess, her strategic thinking comes out of shadow and goes into retrograde, which means as of the 18th, she's a full ally for you, talking to you and only you about how to help strengthen your core, your value, your money, your talents, your shape-shifting investments of you and your life. But not until the 18th. Now, here's the thing. those energies are going to be that way this month, but Saturn and Pallas are eventually moving back into your first house. And you're going to be noticing that next month. But right now, what you have going on in your first house is Pluto in retrograde and Jupiter about to go into retrograde. Jupiter will go retrograde on the 14th. Something's up for the 11th for you guys too, and it may have everything to do with communication. That's the day Mercury enters Gemini. Communication enters Jekyll and Hyde. And your 6th house of your daily routines. We'll come back for that in a minute. Just giving it to you as I'm getting it. Your first house, your self-awareness, your personality, your appearance, your very character, your identification, your image. How it is that you think you shine versus how everybody else sees you. Pluto is in retrograde. Pluto is the only planet that doesn't go inward. It's always inward. It's just now going, I'm done putting up with the halfway, and I want you to make the full change. Pluto deals with the fear of finding the full soul fire. He's death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, regeneration. And he's really tapping into your character, your personality, your view, your core. Jupiter is not in its most powerful place here. Jupiter is abundance manifestation. It's the magnet. And like I said, up until the 14th, it could be tapping into that higher knowledge, that abundance, but from a darker aspect. Again, of where you're not fully going deep. Going dark is what I'm hearing. Like going into those parts of yourself that you do still fear a little bit. But after the 14th, Jupiter starts to strengthen into a supportive energy and going into that going dark, going deep, going into new levels of your consciousness and bringing knowledge abundance into your awareness of your very whole core, everything around your life, and help shape shifting it. Pluto is going to be pushing on you to make these changes and to believe in yourself and go and to have the fire to go after it. I mean, it really feels like a whole lot of spiritual growth, but I feel like it's an overdrive. Now, your 4th house is in opposition with your 10th house. Your 4th house is your inner emotional security. It is the home versus the home. It is your inner child, your family land, your personal foundation of where inner emotional security is actually created or where it originally got screwed up. Because it's the inner childhood too. The original home and roots of who and what you are, your upbringing. You could be dealing with past issues from that upbringing and having really to dig in deep and bring through some inner emotional healing of your true personal foundations and your true roots and the true depths of self. Chiron is here saying, oh yeah, I'm telling you, there's something here you haven't fully healed. Because Chiron's the wounded healer in a brand new cycle in Aries, saying something about this inner emotional security, the vessel, something about this soul connection and the depths of it. We still have to work on getting deeper into the healing. While they're, like I said, it's inner childhood issues that you're overcoming, that you're not trying to carry the same torch down the same road and pass that same torch over. Maybe it's where inner emotional security was lost through the upbringing. It is your personal foundations, but it could also be, if you're like a star seed, it could be getting more in touch with your roots from there. You know, this is really tapping into you on a whole new level with a whole new, brand new, bigger heart, is the way Spirit's putting it to me. It's like, I'm all heart here, so you better get on board with it, is what I'm getting from Spirit. And the thing is, your fourth house also has Eris in it, which is Medusa. There's something about the past, about who you are, about your roots and that foundation that's in question on if it can change. You think there's an injustice that's formed the insecurity that you've become secure about. But it's actually a healing that needs to happen for the true vessel to come into full soul light. The thing is, it's going to be showing itself in a mirroring effect through Libra energy, which is your 11th house, your community, your larger groups, friends, your larger groups, your friends, your community, and your memberships. Libra has Juno in it up until the 27th, which will be in retrograde. Until the 27th, those outer community is either incredibly supportive and showing the sacrifice and commitment that it takes to be there for you and help you build the structure and help you find self-realization and help you work through your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, or it's really showing you where it ain't there and you need to have sacrifice and commitment to yourself over that outer community. Because the whole thing is it should be strengthening your self-realization. It should be strengthening your acceptance of coming into this bigger depth truth of you. And then where that's supposed to take your goals, dreams, and ambitions. But you have Haumea here also. So the very collective consciousness is in that outer community staring you down. Like I said, there's some kind of mirroring effect that's trying to teach you a lesson about where you're not tapping into your own inner emotional security, where you're not believing in your own emotional security. You fear it. You're afraid of it. You turn your head on it, or you're doing the Medusa thing, and the vampire thing is sucking on to, the energies that continuously actually keep you from the depth of that inner emotional security. Whether it's child, home, roots, child upbringing, or starseed connection. There's a major depth going on, but I heard what you heard come out of my mouth was death. So this is definitely letting go of what you knew, because you're learning so much more. Your fifth house is all about your personal interests and taking time to dive into those personal interests, your inner creativity, your inner expression, your inner child, having fun, enjoying what makes life fun, enjoying your hobbies, dating, romance, your inner creativity, allowing your inner child to play and explore life. Here you happen to have Taurus and the sun until the sun will be here until the 20th. And this is the fifth house either telling you that you need to be putting the intention, you need to see the light that's being shined upon the fact that you are either getting to have fun and enjoying it, or that you are not. because it all has to do with you claiming your independence, coming into your individuality. It's going to cut off, so I'm going to start back up with part 2 right where I'm leaving. I love you guys.